Okay, so what we're going to see here in this tutorial is how to bring this Illustrator file in position here on a Photoshop file with just a few transformations and some shadows. This is an example of the result. I have another example here which has no curve. So we're going to do the demonstration with this one, which is a mega column in the streets of Montreal. So what I want to do here is export that file as a PNG file to bring it into Photoshop, but I just need first to have an idea of which size I want to choose. So I'm gonna go have a look here at the height of my file, which is 750 pixels. So I'm gonna just export this by using Save for Web, the Save for Web option as a PNG. So you don't want to keep the transparency because the white part is important as well. So you don't keep the transparency. So you can choose the height here. I'm going to put 800 and then save that file. Sorry about that. So because it's already saved, I'm just going to cancel here. Once your file is ready, you just need to open it directly in Photoshop side by side with your Photoshop file. And then you need to duplicate this layer into your Photoshop demonstration. Well, here it's a demonstration file. So I'm going to click OK. I don't need that one anymore. So there you go. I have my visual here. I could have used the drag and drop option as well. So before I transform this object, I'm going to put a bit of transparency to it. So I'm going to press a key on my keyboard, the number 4. So you see by pressing the number 4, the opacity just changed to 40%. You can change it here if you wish, but again, it's way much faster just pressing, for example, 3, 30%, 5, 50. So I'm going to choose 40%. And then I'm going to choose the free transform option, Command T on Mac or Control T on PC. So the idea is to cover the whole space. Make sure you zoom enough. So now I have a pretty much straight line, I have to say, with this visual. But in some cases, you might want to put your object in angle. So in that case, you need to press the Command key, you see, so you can distort your visual, the Command key on Mac or Control key on PC. So you can modify point by point the visual just like that. So you can respect all the angles. Okay. So I do believe I have covered my whole 4 points. Enter. The last transformation. By the way, the free transform option is available here. And the next transformation, I'm going to use warp to give me some handles here so I can create the curve. I actually need to cover this curve at the top and then just a slight curve here at the bottom. So as you can see, it's not a major transformation, but this is important as well. Enter again. Now I can press 0 on my keyboard to have my visual at 100%. Now the last thing I want to do is add some shadows to this. So I'm just going to rename that artwork. So I'm going to create a new empty layer here, but I need to have a mask because if I add shadows, for example, let's say I'm adding shadows, you're going to see it's going to cover the whole thing. So I need a mask. So by pressing the Command key on my keyboard or Control on PC, so Command and click here on the artwork layer. You see I created a selection and then I'm going to click here, add layer mask. So I know that all this area will be covered. So I'm going to rename that shadows. There you go. So you have different options. You can use a brush. You can use the gradient tool as well. And in this case, another thing that is important, the layer mode, which is a normal. By default, I'm going to choose multiply, so my shadow is going to multiply with the rest of the visual. So if I just click and drag in a straight line, I can create just like little shadows, so you can do them more deeper. It depends of the effect you want to create, and like I said, if you wish, you can choose to use the brush tool in some cases. Now I have a pretty small brush. No, it's a pretty big brush. So that's another option. For example, if you want to follow like the curve like this, but I'm not very good with this actually. So that's another way of creating shadows. You see, so if you want to respect the curve, and you can change also the opacity of your layer if it's too dark, for example. So that's how you do it, folks. Pretty easy, just a few steps. So remember, please save your file so you can open it in Photoshop. Doesn't have to be big. And then free transform, and after that warp, and that's it. Thank you.